Alright, guys. Time for my top 10 horror movie franchises. Let's go. Number 10 is absolutely going to be George Romero's zombie movie franchise. All of his movies, except I'm not too big on the Survival of the Dead, but everything else I absolutely love of George Romero's. It's an absolute masterpiece. Land of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, both versions, Dawn of the Dead 2004, Day of the Dead, the remake. All of them absolutely have a genuine place in my heart. They're all good. If you haven't watched them, I highly recommend it. Now my number 9 is going to be the Phantasm franchise. Every one of them, except I'm going to go out on a limb and say the number 2 I just didn't really care for. It was good. It was alright. It was mid. Phantasm 5, I didn't care for it either. But 1, 3, and 4 are absolutely peak horror movies. And they hold a special place in my heart as well. If you haven't watched them, I absolutely recommend it. The number 8 is absolutely going to be the Hannibal Lecter franchise. Hannibal Lecter is just menacing. Like, without this dude, I don't know where horror movies might have gone, in all honesty. You know, if it wasn't for people like him and Ghostface in the 90s, I really don't see horror movies really going too much anywhere. Red Dragon was amazing, by the way. If you guys haven't checked out Red Dragon with Edward Norton and Anthony Hopkins, I highly recommend it. I mean, this prequel was absolutely one of the best prequels in horror movies I think they've ever made. My number 7 is absolutely going to be the Scream franchise. I don't really care for the series, in all honesty. I'm not too big on it, but all the movies I actually really like, pretty much. They're just some I literally like a little bit more than the other ones, but I still like all the movies. My number 6, Texas Chainsaw, bro. If you ain't watched Texas Chainsaw, at least 3 of the movies out of this freaking list right here, yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? Every freaking movie, in my opinion. I don't think there was one bad one except for the new one. Oh, and this one too. But all the rest were actually pretty good. I don't see why they get hate. Like, you know, even Next Generation here gets a lot of hate, and for what I don't know why. I mean, yes, it was a 90s horror movie, and that's what it should have been. But it was actually pretty good writing and a pretty good backstory to it. And, you know, of course, Leatherface. Yeah, I really just don't understand why it gets so much hate that it did, but oh well. It's definitely my number 6. Number 5. Y'all should already know. I'm definitely going to go with Nightmare on Elm Street. At some point in this top 10, if Nightmare on Elm Street on it, y'all need to hit me over the head with something, because something's wrong. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a couple of Freddy movies I just didn't care for. I feel like it did trash the series somewhat, but it redeemed itself in the end with New Nightmare, like literally. There's really no wrongdoings. And I actually look forward and embrace the future on what they might do with it. But the first literally 5 movies are absolutely peak, including the New Nightmare. Absolutely a masterpiece. If you guys have not watched any Nightmare on Elm Street, which I've met a couple people who haven't, now's the time. What are you doing? And number 4 is absolutely going to be Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects franchise. The third one ain't on here, and it's for a reason, because I honestly don't really care too much for it, and I'm not going to count it as a Rob Zombie movie that's in this franchise, because it was just bad. I mean, they had some good scenes in it, but no. It shouldn't have been made, bro. Like, it literally was alright just the way it was right here. These 2 movies are peak. These 2 movies I could watch every day, all day long, and I have a problem with it. Period. Number 3, y'all know Friday the 13th has to be on my list, bruh. It was bound to happen. Friday the 13th is absolutely one of the best horror slasher franchises out there. You know, except for part 8 and part 5-ish, because they were kind of funny, and that's about it. But all the rest of them are absolutely good. If you haven't watched them, you should. My number 2 is absolutely going to be Hellraiser. Specifically, these movies right here. I'm actually glad I found a artwork that actually has my favorite ones on there, because those are literally my favorite ones. The rest of them were you know, and that's about it. But these 5 movies right here are absolutely peak. Watch them. Don't judge them. Watch them. Halloween is absolutely going to be my number 1. I grew up watching Michael Myers since I was 2 years old. And I can tell you right now, we've had some ups and we've had some downs, because there's some in there that just, at least 2 in there, 2. That's it. The rest of them are really good. But there's 2 in there that I absolutely love Michael Myers. I absolutely love the Halloween franchise. I love what John Carpenter has done with the horror community. It's absolutely going to take my number 1 spot. Hope you guys enjoyed my top 10. And y'all comment down below what my next video discussion on horror should be. Take all considerations and put them up for a vote in the video.